Paraprofessionals are vital team members in educating students with disabilities. They are important in both the general and special education classrooms and often have a high level of interaction and communication between the student and family. Yet new teachers do not always feel confident about the best ways to work with parapros or even what roles a parapro should play in the classroom. Paraeducators have always been an integral component of educating students with disabilities. Their duties have changed as our accountability laws, like No Child Left Behind, and now the Every Student Succeeds Act, have introduced standard-based reform in education. Personal care of students, behavior management, and assisting in educational responsibilities are all duties that parapros perform on a daily basis. Though parapros are thought to be assistants to the teachers, now more than ever they are providing instructional services to and alongside the students. Though parapros have been working with students with disabilities for many years, teachers and related service personnel often have little to no training on exactly how to work with them and create an effective teacher and parapro team. This means that many new teachers enter the classroom unprepared for working with paraprofessionals. The following recipe can be used to create a successful teacher and parapro team in an exceptional children's classroom and also in the total school environment. The first ingredient in our recipe is effective leadership. The teachers must lead their classrooms, which includes students, parapros, related service personnel, volunteers, etc. Using this recipe, we can empower the parapros to serve the students to the best of their ability. We must empower them to ask questions when needed as well. How does effective leadership impact a teacher-parapro relationship? Let's quickly review what we learned during discussing how to become a teacher leader. Establishing effective leadership with an emphasis on emotions and values is the first step in establishing an effective team. This transformative leadership results in power through other people rather than power over them. The second ingredient is a description of your teaching philosophy. It is important for all members of the teaching team to understand the teacher's background and motivations for teaching. In order to create a teacher and parapro team that is effective, the parapros need to understand who the person is as a teacher. Paraeducators need to understand the methods and philosophies of their supervising teacher. One way to do this is for the teacher to share his or her philosophy of teaching. Exploring the why behind what a teacher is doing can be very good for the rest of the team. It can be viewed as the method behind the madness. Most parapros have not had intensive training that special education teachers have had, and they need to know why the teacher is doing certain things in the classroom and with the students. When the teacher and parapro are on the same page philosophically, a class philosophy or a description of the classroom community can be created, which is the third ingredient. Working together to build goals for the classroom is an excellent way to start your team in the right direction. Every member of the team should understand their roles, which is why that's the fourth ingredient of the recipe. It is recommended that parapros know and understand their roles and responsibilities. The teacher must clearly define the roles that each parapro will have. The roles and expectations of a paraprofessional should be described in detail, and they need to understand how they might differ in each environment they'll encounter. It is not uncommon for a paraprofessional to support many different students throughout the day and be in many different learning environments. Here is an example of just some roles and responsibilities that differ between a special education teacher and his or her paraprofessional. So you should be able to see here how the parapro should be an extension of the teacher. A great analogy is to think of the special ed teacher as the chef and the parapro as the sous chef. Beyond understanding basic roles and responsibilities, you should also empower your parapros to set goals for ongoing success. Goals can be set for the year or for each quarter or semester. As teachers, we set goals for ourselves, and we need to make sure that our parapros are setting and completing goals for themselves. Using goal monitoring and progression can serve for both empowerment of parapros and for good record keeping regarding how your parapros are progressing or not progressing as professionals in the classroom. Meeting with a parapro and going over the goals routinely is important for success. It might be important to share your goals for the classroom as well, so that goals are shared and the team can work together to meet all established goals. The fifth ingredient in our successful parapro recipe is the development of a schedule. A schedule is proactive and helps clarify expectations and duties of all team members. After an overall daily schedule is generated, a parapro schedule is easy to create. This schedule will go over specific duties of the parapro at each time of the day. When creating a parapro schedule, it has been observed that having a teacher schedule which is shared with the parapro is important for establishing teamwork. Special ed teachers often keep schedules posted on the whiteboards, particularly when there are several paraprofessionals in the classroom. Students are often pulled out for various services like speech or occupational therapy or counseling, and sometimes paraprofessionals need to go with them for supervision. Make your schedules available to everyone so everyone can clearly see who is going where and where anyone is at any given point in the day. Good scheduling skills is something you will definitely need as a special education teacher. The next ingredient in our recipe is planning and modeling of educational support. As the teacher on the team, you must model and plan for educational support. Students with disabilities need educational support, and parapros should be taught and shown through modeling what specific kinds of educational support each student needs. Information about support should be included on classroom plans, and be certain that all paraprofessionals and personnel know the supports to be provided for each student. You want to make sure you model what to do and also what not to do. There is a lot of research that demonstrates the ineffectiveness of paraprofessionals when they hover over students and do not foster independence. In these cases, too much support can actually hinder peer-to-peer social relationships and decrease problem-solving behaviors. Instead, a parapro needs to be an extension of the teacher. In order for this to happen, you as the teacher need to model what it looks like to truly facilitate learning. For some teachers, assigning paraprofessionals to specific students or to specific subject areas can be beneficial. If a parapro can become an expert on a certain student or a certain subject area they might teach in a small group, they'll feel valued and empowered. Teachers must model and plan for this so they can give the parapros these opportunities for leadership and growth. However, we always want to make sure that the paraprofessional does not take on a motherly role for the student she is supporting. Why do you think this is important? Well, we want our students to be as independent as possible, and we don't want to create a student to be overly dependent on their paraprofessional. If this occurs, then we've actually done a disservice to the student. Effective communication is very important for the success of your team, which is why that's the next ingredient. As a leader in the classroom, the teacher must effectively communicate with each one of the team members and elicit effective communication from them as well. For success, communication needs to be open and constant. One strategy for effective communication between team members can be accomplished through meetings. There will be some matters that need to be discussed via group meetings. Weekly group meetings are best if possible. Meetings can be an opportunity to discuss students, schedule changes and additions, and any problems that are occurring. Individual meetings may also be necessary if you see that a member of your team is struggling in some way. A brief individual conference might be all it takes to gain some insight into why someone is struggling. Sometimes it might be that something is going on in their personal life, like a sick family member or another family stressor. An individual meeting is not a punishment. Instead, it shows that you value your paraeducator both as a professional and as a person. The next ingredient is training in augmentative communication devices and assistive technology. We are teaching 21st century learners. Technology should be infused into everything that we do as special educators. Paraeducators need to be trained on any technology, including computers or iPads, assistive technology, or augmentative and alternative communication devices that students will use. This can be done through professional development and on-site training and technical assistance for parapros. If a parapro is working directly with a student with AT needs, he or she not only needs to know how the devices work, but they also need to know how to help students leverage those tools for learning. Work hard And play hard. A good team works hard and also has a great time doing so. Creating a fun and safe environment is beneficial for both students and adults who work in the classroom. During academic time, strive to work hard and teach every member of the team that working hard pays off and student learning will occur also. Also play hard. Have fun together. Have fun with the students. Use humor and music to motivate and create an environment in which every person in your building will want to be a part of. And finally, the last ingredient is to walk in each day through the door and meet each student and staff member with a smile. Remember, it can be a tough job. Working with students with disabilities can be difficult and exhausting. So can working with multiple adults in a classroom. It's important that everyone puts on a smile when they walk through the door each morning and keeps that positive attitude. Here are some resources to increase your knowledge about working with paraprofessionals and to enhance parapro's skills. Building teacher and parapro teams is key to a positive work environment and is a superior learning environment for students. Teams can be built in self-contained classrooms or in inclusion settings. Using this recipe will certainly create a cohesive team to which everyone will want to contribute and many will try to join. Paraeducators are essential. Make sure they feel that way on a daily basis.